It's only 5:30, but how many of you are already thinking about heading to bed after a Monday back at work? The idea of a great night's sleep really sounds good. Sometimes it's easier said than done. That's why today we're talking all things sleep and providing recommendations for a good night's rest for all ages. And we're going to talk about how to prepare for the upcoming daylight saving time. Dr. Pallavi Reddy, a sleep specialist in the Triad and member of the Cone Health medical and dental staff. She's here with us today to give us all of her wisdom and expertise. So we're going to talk about from young kids all the way through adults. Let's start with the youngsters, right? The babies. You have a 3-month-old yourself. So what are the recommended do's and don'ts for the babies for sleep?
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for having me. Well, there's a lot going on in a baby's brain and body in the first few months. Newborns and infants need 14 to 17 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period, including 2 to 3 naps. Consistency is key. Babies start to recognize a routine. Like you said, as a new mom myself, I use the eat, play, sleep schedule for my baby. First, I feed the baby, keep her awake, and then play with her until she gets drowsy and then put her down to sleep. I repeat this schedule throughout the day.
That way they know, okay, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to eat, I'm going to play, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to eat, play, and go to bed. Okay. All right. What about the school-age children? How many hours do they need?
So in this age group, high quality sleep is essential because it helps with problem solving, language development, and attention. So 3 to 5 year olds need 10 hours of sleep per night, and this can include an optional nap. And kids aged 5 years and up should be striving to get 9 to 10 hours of sleep per night.
Okay, you said 10 and up should get how long?
9 to 10 hours.
9 to 10 hours. Okay. So when we talk about this, we always think to ourselves, you know, how much does sleep impact us as adults? How much does sleep impact the kids if they don't get enough?
So it can definitely have an impact long term on their attention, obesity. It can affect their moods. So it can definitely have some long term consequences.
Okay, let's talk about adults. How many hours are recommended? Because I'm sure there's a bunch of adults out there who are everything from the gamut of I only get 4 hours of sleep to some of them get like 8 or 9 hours of sleep.
So that's the $1 million question. Research has actually shown that sleeping less than 6 hours and more than 9 hours per night is linked to heart disease, stroke, and a variety of other medical conditions. So the sweet spot is 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night.
7 to 8. Okay, so let's talk about a good sleep routine for adults. Like, I know you said the sleep routine for the baby, there's a good sleep routine for kids. So what is the good sleep routine for adults? Because sometimes we don't follow all the rules like we should.
So similarly to children, I recommend winding down 1 to 2 hours prior to bedtime. Definitely avoiding caffeine several hours prior to bed too, like 6 to 8 hours if possible. And the most important is limiting electronic use 1 to 2 hours before bed. That blue light that comes from your laptops, TVs, your cell phone can emit signals that can suppress the melatonin that we all naturally produce in our brain that makes us sleepy. So that's very important. This day and age where everyone's using their electronics in bed is something that I talk to all of my patients about. And lastly, listening to your body when you're sleepy. So when you get home and you feel like you have a second wind after the kids are asleep and you want to watch your favorite show on Netflix, avoid that urge and listen to your body and invest in your health and just go to sleep.
Is it okay though if we get that second wind and we do something that is not like TV or screen related?
Certainly. So having a relaxing activity, whether that's listening to soft music, meditating, reading a book. The key is to not do those activities in your bed, though. So finding a quiet place in your house, whether that's your living room or your bedroom, like a cozy chair, and dimming the lights. We also say that dimming the lights after 6 p.m. can kind of help set the tone and the mood for sleep.
Okay, and don't do it in the bedroom. And that is because we should just keep the bedroom for sleep and sleep only?
Yeah, so we want to associate our beds with sleep, and sleep is a learned behavior, just like how we teach babies and young children to sleep. So when we relax in our bed or just hang out, our brain is confused. Do we sleep there? Do we watch TV? Do we do homework? Um, so that can be a little bit confusing and stressful.
Okay, all right, good to know. All right, we're going to continue on this conversation because we all need a better night's sleep. We'll be back in just a few minutes.